built up from a pig's tooth. Piltdown Man, built out, it was a fraud. These people were shown to be frauds. It was a human skull and an ape's jawbone. For 40 years, that was in our textbooks, leading students astray as divine, supreme proof for evolution. I wonder how many kids doubted the Bible because of this and died and went to hell because of this lie. It certainly was not a fact. It certainly was not proved at that point, and it certainly still is in many textbooks across the country as proof for evolution when it's been proven wrong. Neanderthal man, that was a man with arthritis. They saw the skeleton, it was bent over. They said he's halfway from ape walking on fours to a man walking on twos. It was an old man with arthritis. He was halfway going down. These things are ridiculous, but they're still in textbooks today. Lucy, the problems are incredible with Lucy. The remains are from different animals, remains found scattered over miles at different depths, and that's even if you believe in the geologic column. Lucy's knees were not her own. There was nothing below the hips, yet they put feet, human feet, on the displays and in the pictures in the textbooks and at zoos. Donald Johanson claimed that this angled femur proved that she was evolving. All tree-dwelling monkeys have an angled femur so they can get a better grip on the limb they're on. And he said, well, after that, well, the bigger bones proves it's evolving. No, it just means it's a bigger animal. You would not look at a Clydesdale horse and think it's turning into a Mack truck because it's heavy boned. And Lucy is a modern chimp, alive and well in Sumatra. And just number 7 alone, I think, is good proof for a divine creator made right the first time. There's an article showing right there, Lucy's alive and well in Sumatra. Creation Ex Nihilo magazine, March through May, 1996, page 8. If you want to read more on this, just get Marvin Lumenau's book, Bones of Contention. Folks, there's a lot of things being pushed as truth and fact that are not and have been proven wrong for many years now. And we're not alarmed at evolution. We're alarmed that so many lies are being used to push it.
Thank you, Mike. Nick, 5 minutes.
Thanks. Well, again, I'm not a biologist, right? And I'd recommend that we hold off until we get some education in biology to evaluate some of the claims being made up here today. I think it's very hard for you or I to make sense of these complicated claims about vestigial organs and all the rest of it. Let's try to abstract away from this and think about the bigger picture. Why should you believe in a natural selection and evolution via processes described by Darwin or neo-Darwinians? Well, I mean, not a biologist or a student of biology, but you yourself. I know what evidence they have, and if they didn't believe it, they ought not be biologists. But why should you believe it? Well, first let me tell you why I don't think you should believe it, right? And we'll go through a few of those, and I think in the next session I'll tell you maybe why you should. You shouldn't believe it then because it's true, right? Truth is too heavy a word, better left for the theologians or philosophers, right? There's various theories of truth, and truth is one, and all these. It's too heavy a term, right? I wouldn't expect you to believe a theory because I told you it was true, or even that it was demonstrably true, right? That I could prove it to you. I really sincerely doubt that any of those biology textbooks say that they have proof for a theory in biology, right? Scientists don't talk that way. They don't talk about demonstrative proof. That's a logical term, right? Better left for the logicians. What we're talking about here is confirming a theory, right? And theories get better and better confirmed. They don't get proven. So offering $250 million or something for proof of evolutionary theory is a sophism, right? Maybe you should believe it because it's empirically adequate, right? Because it describes all the facts of the natural world. I don't think so, right? Lots of theories could do that. Even an account like Genesis could explain everything and describe in different words, model, that is, all the natural processes that you will observe in your life. But we have very limited access to the universe, right? We haven't seen it all. We don't know what all the facts there are to be described. And this theory may not be empirically adequate, right? Darwin himself admitted to huge gaps in his theory. And we've just added a major refinement to that theory in 1953 when we figured out the code of life, right, DNA, the digital code by which micro and macro, if you're going to admit microevolution, I think you have to admit macro, given if micro happens according to mechanisms at the genetic level. But we'll get back to that. I digress. No, I don't think just because a theory describes all the facts, you should believe it. A simple vacuous theory, right, could do that. Maybe you should believe neo-Darwinian evolution through natural selection because it's simpler. But I think for most of you, most of the people in this room, Genesis is simpler, right? So I don't think that's going to get us very far. And the same with aesthetically beautiful and pleasant. I mean, perhaps for a biologist like Dr. Gould up there or other biologists, they can see the simplicity and the elegance in neo-Darwinian evolution, but I can't, frankly. Science is hard, right? Myths are easy, and they're meant to simplify. Maybe you should believe it, because as I said before, the vast majority of informed and reasonable professional people do, right? Maybe you should believe it because all of the scientific boards and all of the people who we trust, right, to cure our diseases and to inquire into the natural world, maybe you should believe it because they do. But no, you shouldn't, right? That's another bad reason to believe it. Just like I'm not going to tell you what to believe based on authority, neither should my opponents, right? You should, those scientists don't give you a reason why you should believe it, right? You have to figure it out for yourself. And that's, sorry, a harder task. But you have to be the one to evaluate the evidence. And I think when you do that, the reasonable conclusion is that the world is more than 6,000 to 10,000 years old, and life forms have evolved from simpler ones through mechanisms involving DNA. Cheers.
This is the rebuttal period in which each of the participants have 3 minutes to respond, I assume, extemporaneously to what they've heard over the last several minutes. So, Kent, take it away. 3 minutes.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. I want you to notice throughout this discussion today, Mr. Powers has referred a few times to Genesis being simpler. I think there's a subtle connotation in here, like, if you believe that, you're dumb. Scientists know, they know better. You know, it's kind of the, I'm smart, you're dumb. Philosophy, I mean, any philosopher should know that's it's not good logic, okay? And to say Genesis is simpler, here you are saying that, you know, I believe it is pretty simple, it's written, and I believe it's exactly the way it happened. And I don't think you have to be stupid to believe that. I got an IQ about 160 and taught science 15 years and debate on this topic all the time. There simply is no evidence for evolution. I think it's simple to see dogs produce a variety of dogs. And to assume that this proves, that micro proves macro, which is what he said, I disagree 100%. It takes a giant leap of faith and logic to go from micro to macro. Nobody's ever seen a dog produce a non-dog. What we have here is a classic case of bait and switch. If I said, boys and girls, I got a new Mercedes for $10, people would line up for 10 miles down the street to get that thing. And when they got there, I'd say, well, we just sold it. How about look at this one? It's only $99,000. Bait and switch is illegal, folks. People get thrown in jail for that, for advertising. False advertising. And yet your textbooks at this university give the kids a classic case of bait and switch. They give them a definition for evolution, like descent with modification. This 1999 edition textbook that I just reviewed last week for the school system says evolution means a change over time. That's not really what they mean. Here it says evolution is defined as a change in species over time.